Vocation story. Kind of changed my life forever. I don't remember any of it, but I do remember that I walked out of that talk thinking, someday when I'm a priest, I'm going to have to do the same thing. So I didn't want to forget, opposite of remember, any details. So I wrote everything down on a piece of paper. I've since lost that piece of paper. And most of this is retrospect now. So I can't thank everyone who's brought me to this point right now in my discernment, but the three main points I'll bring up are my school system, my schooling, my bishop, and my pastor. My schooling, shout out to Lafayette Catholic School System, had constant opportunities for growth in the spiritual life, began every class with prayer, had daily mass, weekly mass, opportunities for confession, constant growth all the time, had sisters in the classroom all the time, and had priests coming in to give guest talks. One opportunity they provided every year was Catholic Schools Week, when all the schools get together and have one big mass with the bishop and all the local priests. The most memorable of which was my kindergarten year, when afterwards there were a bunch of presentations. My bishop finished, and he came and sat next to my kindergarten class. So he sits next to one kid, like this is a big deal. He sits next to one kid, and the kid, his name's Cosmo, but he, I know. That wasn't the joke, but his name was Cosmo. So he freezes, can't handle it. He gets up and he goes and walks away. So then there's the next kid, a girl. She freezes, just starts crying. And someone gets her and walks away. So I feel bad for the dude. So I turn around and I look at my teacher, Mrs. Yarnell, is it okay? Can I go sit next to him? She goes, excuse me? May I go sit next to him, please? Yes, you may. So I go back and I sit next to him, and we just start kind of shooting the breeze. What's your name? Will. What's yours? Bishop Hickey. Oh, he says, is Will short for William? How did you know? I didn't. My name's William too. Really? But my sisters call me Bill. My brother calls me Bill. I'm like, connection right away. So he asked me like about my dimple. I never knew a dimple was a thing, let alone that there was a word for it on my chin. But like we were laughing about that, and sure enough, the next day, the front page of the paper was the two of us laughing about my dimple. Slow news day. Anyway, go on. He was kind of his secretary tracked my mom down somehow and asked if we could meet up again. So we do. William the bishop and William the kindergartner. We have kind of a follow-up meeting, and then he writes me a thank you letter. I write him a thank you letter, and then we kind of write letters back and forth, become pen pals. Fortunately, conveniently, he just lived 2 doors down in the chancery, the bishop's office too. So he lives 2 doors down, so I didn't actually have to mail it. I just brought it over. But we become pen pals. Side note, by the way, 2 doors down. A couple summers ago, Father Becker and Father Gitter were doing their rounds and met with my bishop, and with their free time, decide to come over to my house for a bonfire with the other Lafayette SJV guys. And priests from our diocese decided to bring like a 3-man slingshot for water balloons. So with these guys, under their supervision, we shot my chancery with water balloons. They allowed it. So that's number 2. Number 3, my pastor, Father Tim Alkire, was also an inspiration, was also around my house a lot of times, just to have dinner, have coffee, beer, whatever, and just to be a normal guy, but also had a deep, intense love for the Eucharist, was very devoted to the Eucharist and to Our Lady. So he was a constant witness there. Also loved pranks, kind of inspired that prank. But he was always around me. So the 3 of them always kind of being around constantly was a good witness for the priesthood. When it came time to actually, like, I knew I had to do something, I had to tell someone, it was like 6th grade, time crunch. I told him, I told my pastor, like, what do I do? Like, do I go to high school seminary? He's like, no, high school, then seminary. But what do I do in the meantime? He said, like, you have to become a great saint, become a great father, regardless of what kind of father it is. How do I do that? Have a well-rounded life. So the well-rounded life that he said was to play sports and then to also do non-sports. So I played football and was in musicals, and I did track and field, just the field part. And then I did mock trial on top of that. And then I did year-round campus ministry and year-round weightlifting. So I tried to lead a well-rounded life. And so over time I started doing that, trying to get in the regular mode of things. By the end of high school, I had to start applying for seminary. And like they ask all those questions, ask your autobiography. So what do I tell I asked my bishop, like Papa Bishop at the time. Oh yeah, he became my Papa Bishop. He became like my grandpa somehow. I forgot that part of my story. Anyway, became like my adopted grandpa, my Papa Bishop. But asked my Papa Bishop, like, what do I do? How do I say, like, I'm called to the priesthood and I'm worthy of the priesthood? He's like, you're not. But like, use my motto, the motto that he'd always used like throughout my whole childhood, the same motto. Use my motto. This is what you stick to. Whenever someone asks you whether you're worthy or who you thank for you getting here, the motto on his not Episcopal seal, whatever, his coat of arms, in English, thank God, not Latin, was praise be Jesus Christ, now and forever.